Welcome, time for some art fun. Today, I want to invite you into my studio for a few days of painting, so stick around. I am currently on a mission to use up these little mini flash paints that you see in my studio sometimes. You'll see them throughout this painting process. This is so much fun to just be able to squitch out a bunch of paint onto a paper and just move it around. Instead of my black gesso, I decided to use the black flash paint because I really want to use those little tubes up. I don't personally see a huge difference between the flash paint, which is a vinyl-based paint that I got just based on the fact that Sandy Hester, who plays with a ton of different paints, happens to love this paint, and it used to be her go-to paint. Now she plays with a lot of different paints, and so do I. And so this is just one of the paints that I've played with. It is certainly a beautiful paint. It's opaque, it dries matte, it's beautiful, but it definitely does the same thing, in my opinion, and in my experience with it, that a lot of my other paints do. So my Blick acrylic matte acrylic paints, my Liquitex matte acrylic paints, my Holbein matte acrylic paints. Sometimes these are called acrylic gouache. Sometimes they're just called matte acrylic. I've tried all types of brands and I really get the same experience with them if they're true to their name. If they're drying matte and they're acrylic, which means that they dry permanently. Once they dry, they're done and they don't lift, unlike watercolor or traditional gouache, which does lift. And these do that, but right now I just feel like I want to start using up some of my art materials and really dedicating time to each material to try to move through it, because in the long term I'm trying to get a sense of what materials are my favorite. And yeah, again, you're invited into my studio. You need to see what it's really like. Here's a puppy interlude. He's snoring. I don't know if you can hear it. Could you hear it? He was totally snoring. Well, tongue out. So once I put down the flash paints, I put some Posca details, which you can see in here, and then I went in with my colored pencils. So again, I am a mixed media artist, so I'm not going to stick just with my flash paints until they're used up, but I'm trying to use them in place of any matte acrylic paint roll, where if I need that roll filled, I'm going to turn to the flash paints until they're used up. And the other thing that this really does for me, I get to let loose, people. I get to just let loose. If I know in my mind, part of my personal challenge that I've set for myself is to use up the flash paints, then I'm not going to be shy about using the flash paints. I'm not going to be precious with them. I'm going to put as much paint out on my palette as I feel like I need. I'm going to just use them. I'm going to do these double page spreads that just cover the entire giant 8x10 sketchbook in an open spread. So what is that, 16 by 20? That's what these little raccoons are. And I just want to show you this delicious point. Again, I'm trying to show you some of the delicious moments in my studio, the things that give me a lot of just sort of normal day-to-day joy. A nice sharpened, beautiful luminance pencil. A Caran d'Ache luminance pencil just feels so good in my hand. That beginning moment where I just squeezed out a bunch of paint right on the paper and moved it around with a giant 1-inch square brush. These are the kinds of moments that just bring me so much joy, and I really love to look at my palette after the paint's been on there and see what the colors look like. These are like the little moments of joy for me that keep me looking at my studio and just wanting to get in there all the time, and just wanting to be in here with my dog, with my paints, with my pencils, and just enjoy moving art materials around on the page. It is so much fun. And that's why I get so crazy when I get a new art supply and I get so excited, because those are the moments I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about how much fun it's going to be to move that new material around on the page and to look at the final product and see what I'm able to make. Like, obviously, when I saw the reference picture for these 3 little raccoons peeking out of a tree trunk, I died. I was so excited. They're so cute. And I was like, okay, first of all, I do want to see those in my sketchbook. But because I have this little self-assignment of using up the flash paints, I also felt a relaxation and a looseness with this piece where I wasn't obsessed with how it was going to come out. I wasn't worried, even knowing it was going to be part of a video for you all. I wasn't worried if it was not going to be cute enough, if it wasn't going to be obvious what it is, or if I was going to love each one of the little raccoon faces as much as the next. And I don't. I love the top left one the most. by far. I just love how that first one came out. I don't know why it was so magical for me, but it really was. And it's fine. It doesn't matter. Each one of them were so much fun. I wonder which one is your favorite. Just leave it in the comments below which of these 3 raccoons are your favorite. But again, I tried to carry this looseness and just playing around. I almost treated this page like a coloring book page once I had the base layer of Flash Paint down and I was just going to be using my colored pencil. And this, by the way, is a Faber-Castell Polychromos. Some of those are mixed in just because I have a variety of different pencils. Not all of my pencils are Caran d'Ache, but those are definitely my favorite to use and to hold are the Caran d'Ache Luminance. But once I'm holding a colored pencil and coloring something in, I do kind of feel like I'm working in a coloring book. I don't know about you guys, once you have your pencil, your sketch down or your pen sketch down, and then you're coloring in with colored pencil, if that's how you feel. But yeah, take a look at these 3 little babies and tell me which one is your favorite. Once I filled in this double spread, I was still in the mood to use my Flash Paints. So I moved to the next page and I picked another reference picture. I think they're so cute. I love this page. I love how this spread came out. But again, because I thought it was so cute, it motivated me to turn to the next page and fill another spread. So that's exactly what I did. I got my Flash Paints right back out. And another little puppy interlude for you. I thought I would show you too. I'm really close to being done with this sketchbook. I just started it in late December and I only have a couple of signatures left, and then we'll be doing a sketchbook tour of this. So I just wanted to give you that little preview. I'm also filling in pages that you don't see. Like I did this spread just playing around with my super granulating watercolors. These are the kinds of things just happening in my studio. Same night that I did the raccoons, I ended up doing that. I painted a background color here, taped off a square, or, rectangle with my Flash Paints. I mixed the red and the black to get this sort of maroon background color. And then I sketched a lemur over it, just a little, is that how you say it, lemur? That's how I say it. My husband said I'm wrong, but then he wouldn't tell me how you're supposed to say it, so I feel like he's just teasing me. Do your husbands ever do that to you? Where they're like, oh, that's not how you say it, but then they won't tell you how you're supposed to say something. But I just thought this would be so much fun. I did the colored background before I picked the reference picture from Pexels. And it's a free reference picture site where you can just take pictures and it's royalty free. And I just looked around and saw the fur color kind of has some of this maroonish, reddish tone coming through. And I thought, okay, well, I'll put that on this background that I already painted. And again, I just really enjoyed not worrying about how it was going to come out. I wasn't even sure about the sketch, if the sketch was good enough before I started laying down paint. I couldn't care less. I was just here to have fun. I was not here. I was there for a good time, not for a long time. You know what I mean? I just wanted to have fun in my studio, in my sketchbook, in my safe place. It's not for sale. It's never leaving the sketchbook, obviously. But I just thought, oh, how much fun will this be? And then the head can come out off of the square. It's just going to look really cool. And I love how this came out. I love how the raccoons came out. But the coolest part was that isn't what I was thinking about. I wasn't remotely thinking about the finished product when I was making these paintings. I was just thinking, I'm using my Flash Paints. They're gonna, be well on their way to being used up. Let me just try to make something fun, something cute. Let me think about color. And I think because I have such a limited color palette with my Flash Paints, I just have a primary yellow, primary red, primary blue, white, black, and a yellow ochre. That's the 6-tube set that it came with when I ordered it as a sort of just to try it. I only have those 6 colors, and so it's all about mixing. And I really love practicing mixing my colors. I'm definitely a convenience color person. I love having convenience colors. As you well know, if you've been following me for even like 3 videos, you probably know that by now. But I also like to keep my skills sharp by forcing myself to mix colors when I work in a limited color palette. And so doing this project of just several different paintings with my Flash Paints as the star art supply over a 2-day period, all of this stuff was done over 2 days, really helped me focus in on that and think about color mixing, especially with the next painting, which is a Van Gogh study. And this one, while it is a limited color palette within a limited color palette, I mean, this is really just grays, whites, black, different tones of reddish colors. I didn't incorporate the yellows or the blue. It still was super helpful to practice and make sure I had a good range of values. My darks and my lights were there. And I just love how this little baby came out. I think he's so funny and serious. I kept working on him after this. I used some colored pencil on him, so in the final right here might look a little different. But again, I love mixed media. So those are my Flashe paints. If you haven't seen them up close, that's what they look like there. The next day, so that was all one day. The next day I came in and just wanted to play. And so I took this Van Gogh picture from Van Gogh Daily on Instagram and just took out my Flashe paints and played. I did not sketch at all with this. I just put colors down on my palette and went right in with my Flashe paints. And this one was a really useful color mixing practice session. And I love how this came out. I love seeing this in my sketchbook. It's not original. It's a full-on study of a masterwork. Those are so much fun to do sometimes. I'm giving you the slow tape peel because that's another one of those delicious art supply moments that I really look forward to getting into my studio to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed this challenge of getting started on using up an art supply. I don't know if there's an art supply you have lying around that you're going to use up. If there is, until next time, remember, create something cute.